Okay, call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Some credit, Councilwoman Shaw.
Heavenly Father, you have entrusted us to be the stewards of our community, and we ask you to guide our hearts and minds as we make decisions that will affect the residents. We ask you to bless our community with peace and prosperity, and may we always be mindful of the needs of each and every resident. Please protect our police department, fire department, and all of our employees as they perform their duties. We also ask you to bless all the members of our military, past and present. And we thank you for giving them the courage to serve, and we pray that you will protect them and return them home safely. We thank you for the many blessings that you have given us and keep us ever mindful of them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, looks like everybody's here tonight. Good. We'll go with minutes.
I have a correction. I may be wrong.
No, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, on the voting of Schott as president, it was, that's the wrong line. It was a motion by Hartman, a second by Bennett, and I even had also there.
Yeah, and I knew it was Hartman there, but, okay, you already caught that.
Okay, did you make a motion, Georgie, with the correction? Is that what you're doing or not?
I thought someone else made a motion, I'll make a motion.
I'll
With
second.
correction.
John, I'm sorry, you seconded?
I'll second, yes.
Thank you. Balter,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder.
Yes.
Bill.
Motion to bill. Second.
Balter,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder.
Yes.
Workers' time report. Should have two.
Yep.
Kathy, may I ask?
Yes, you may.
The, overtime column, where it says, let me just use an example, I use lawn and chain. Where it says 15.25, is that 15.25 hours for the 2 weeks of overtime?
Okay, this report, I run it at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So since January 1st, he's received 15.25 up to this period.
Total.
If I'm looking at the 16th, which one are you looking at?
Yeah, well, the corner of mine is kind of blurred, so I can't
Mhm.
see, like, it just doesn't read, so I don't know what's beyond that.
Oh.
So I'm just trying to make sense of it.
Anytime you see, let's look at on the 16th where it's got, first one, Spivey. It says under overtime, it's got 4.25. That had been total up to that pay period, but 2.5 hours that are wrote in was the current on those time cards.
Okay.
So anytime I write anything above either the overtime or next to the regular, it's because something has changed where like, beneath him, normal hours is 80. Amy worked 81.5 at the regular rate. She had no overtime, except for what was existing prior to that particular pay period,
Okay.
okay? I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, just I couldn't see, it's blurred on each page. And I just didn't quite know what that might
Mine's.
Mine's fine, I don't,
Yeah.
unless a copy
Yeah,
removed
copy,
it.
huh?
be. Yeah.
But the 81.5 you're saying is her regular hours, that's just her hours.
81.5 is just her regular hours.
Okay, so it's not always overtime when you hand, right?
Right.
I know you just answered that question, but apparently I wasn't getting.
Yeah, normally it's always 80, but if they work over and they're paid straight time, then I'll write like 80.25 or 81.5. They didn't get overtime for it, but they got credit under the regular hours. And you're right, it is a little bit blurred on that one. It's how the printer picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fireman's time.
Motion?
I'll second.
Walter,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder.
Yes.
Thank you. Did we vote on the overtime? You, no, you've never voted unless you want to start voting on that.
Yep,
Oh, no,
just asking.
You may.
on the word or
No.
time? Okay, well, Debbie, you are up.
I don't know if I made you copies or not. I received a document from Fairless High School. It's the student council where they do the Mother's Day walk, and they ask for donations. They have 3 levels that they offer: a bronze for 100, a silver for 250, and a gold sponsor for 500. And the money that they collect from their walk goes to either Fairless Helping Fairless, the Fairless Alumni, or the Student Council. And we've never done this before, but new council, this is something that they ask for donations for, if you're interested in doing this. I can pass this around if you want to look to see, we can go back to it, if you want to look at it. It talks about, for a sponsor, like of 100, your name goes on the back of a race t-shirt, etc. It goes on the web page. Would you like to look at this?
Where does the money, where would the money come out of? Would it just come out of our general fund
It would
then?
come out of general, or we could split it. I could split it more
Throughout
evenly.
different
Yes,
departments?
yes.
Which would probably make
We
more sense.
donate to other things, so we just don't.
We have it lately. Mrs. Courtney was late getting in the information for the school book, the yearbook.
Yes.
She has to work with her students on how to better go and get these ads.
Yes.
We didn't do that this year.
Very
We
bottom.
paid. Our company paid for ads, never got one.
Oh, really?
Several years,
Yeah, and I can't think of anything else right now. We give to the Fearless Food Cuttery, what we
Right,
really
that's
give
what I was
to.
saying,
Yes.
yeah.
And football, or baseball.
No, we don't.
So we're doing more
We haven't did that. Baseball Association hasn't done it for several years to ask for a donation. We used to give, I think, $500 to
Yeah,
them.
'cause-
You guys
I
wanna
remember
see
that.
that?
I'll be down.
Sure.
They do need to see
Yeah,
it.
you were.
How much did you say we used to give the baseball association?
I think it was 500.
Yeah, because we used to sponsor a team, I believe.
I'd have to go back and look. It's been a long time since they asked.
My issue with this is there are so many clubs and so many events and so many that are all gonna be asking for money with this.
Well, I,
Once we do it.
and I thought with this, that it was a specific where the money went. They're leaving this open that they can give it to the council, they can give it to other groups, and we really don't know, other than sponsoring, get our name on something, we don't know how the money's spent.
Yeah, that's something.
Okay, moving on. I had Kelly Corns, who does our cleaning, it was requested that she give a quote on washing the windows. She gave me a quote for $150 outside, $300 outside and inside, weather permitting. Is this something you want to vote on now, or did you want to wait till a little bit later? It's going to be weather permitting, so if we vote now, it could be, I don't know how cold it is that she does that clean.
Do we have a cleaning lady?
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's Kelly, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
right.
Can you say the totals again, please?
150 for outside and 300 for inside and outside, both together.
Wouldn't that be in her job description?
No.
Leave that on the side.
No,
She just comes in and makes,
her job is inside only every other week.
How often do you want this done?
This,
Is this a one-time thing, or?
usually
monthly?
we ask her, and she gives us a quote how much it's gonna be, and then it depends on her schedule and the weather. Right now, it's gonna be weather permitting. I don't know what temperature it has to be that they can really clean outside.
But this is just a one-time thing?
Yeah.
Like on the ends.
Yeah, and they would be cleaning all the windows in the front, the side, in the lunchroom, and mayor's office. What she goes through.
That is-
Have you gotten any other quotes to do that?
I haven't,
Oh, I'll tell you something right now, if you go after
I
somebody
know
else.
you wouldn't.
Well, I know, but if you go after somebody else, there's gonna be a lot more.
How, what have we done in the past?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Like,
Kelly's always-
last year, what did we do? Did we do,
I'd have to go back and check her.
Okay.
I think we do them like twice a year is when we do them. We do them, I know, before the parade in the spring, and I think they do them,
Oh, that's a good idea.
yeah, I think they do it, we used to have them done in
Memorial
the
Day parade?
Memorial Day.
Because we didn't have one.
Memorial Day, and then I think we did them like more the end of the summer or something.
And that was an inside and outside?
Mhm. Yeah. So if you want to approve it now, you want to wait, that's fine, readdress it, I don't care, but I want to bring it to your attention, what you wanted to do with that. And, let's see. I think I gave each of you a form that says Monument Foundations on it. Okay? We all know the village is changing as far as the employees. With retirements coming up, people leaving and not being able to hire and replace them. Mr. Savage will no longer in the spring be doing the monument foundations at the cemetery. That's something we've always did in-house. We did it, we controlled it, how they were set up, when they were put in. If you leave the monument companies to do it, you don't know what they're doing. You mark where they're putting it, but you don't know what they're doing. This gentleman by the name of Alan Graver has worked with me and contacted me in the past, I'd say 15 years. He'd check on stuff to see how we were doing. He does it as a side business. Amy typed this up for you. He does them in Welty, Wilmot, Strasburg, Dover, and I know he mentioned other ones south of us. He pours the monuments. His full-time job is at Ohio Drilling in Asplin. He also does restoration of foundations. Okay, on that, if a foundation cracks, breaks, something happens, he'll take out the old, put a new in for us. His cost is 70 cents per square inch. What he won't do is he won't place the monument. We have to still mark it where it's at and put the name on it so he knows where to pour it to get it ready for the monument company to bring it in. There's a method to their madness. He excavates on site. He will bring in his equipment, dig it in his whatever bobcat or whatever he uses. He will mix his cement on site. He will pour it on site. His question to me was really interesting. Do we have a dirt pile? Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Some cemeteries refuse to have a dirt pile. They don't look tidy. He has to haul the dirt out. We don't. There's a dirt pile for them to use. The residents use it. The cemetery uses it. Someday it may move, but we have a dirt pile for him to be able to dispose of the dirt. His frames that he builds, he said, are usually 2x4 frames because they have to build frames to pour it in. He said that, and I got this a little bit confused, anybody who knows cement won't understand it. It's a limestone, concrete, and sand type mix. He called it a 1-2. Is that even close to what I'm talking about? I'm not sure. Rick knew, and Rick was shaking his head yes. His military markers, he places them in wet cement. We do it in 2 steps. He does it in 1. So it's very specific on some of the stuff he does. He will put a military marker in at the foot of the grave. He will place the new cement on top of the vault, and it's in. And then he sets it in the wet cement. I don't know how he does it without it going sinking. Don't know. He did suggest that if we were interested in working with him, that the cemetery still charge a fee to have our sexton go down and measure that. He said even though he does it for all these places, their sexton will, whether it be charged, he suggested $100. It's up to the council what they want to charge when they change the ordinance for the cemetery. But At this point in time, if you look at the bottom, where it talks, on just a vet marker, we charge $199.95. And I did the calculation for his, and I came up with $448. He is much more expensive than we are. We don't raise our rates fast enough to keep up with all the changes. He does. He just went from 65 to 70 cents in the past couple months. So we need to find somebody. There is no one that I know that's available. Anybody has any ideas, want to step forward and look for somebody? I know nobody.
Is this 448, is that like a set in stone with him for a set amount of time, or what?
70 cents a foot.
That,
Or
okay,
a square inch, sorry.
okay, that's 70 cents, I mean, do we get a guarantee that that's gonna be like that for a year, or is it?
I haven't gotten his paperwork back yet.
Okay.
This is the notes I just took from the conversation.
Okay.
I asked him to write it down. You have to have a heads up, and I'll tell you why. My first order already came in and it was paid for. It was a marker for Elaine Amos. Her markers and all her area are flat grass markers. It's around the statue of Jesus. It's the family area when they put that monument down there. $199.95. When he does it in the spring, we're paying the higher price. And I cringed because Michelle knew what she was doing when she placed that order, because I had to tell her that Rick was going to retire. And she already knows Alan being in the business. So we have already taken a loss on this first one. Did I feel bad? Yeah. But we also have to remember that that family paid for that statue of Jesus and had it shipped here from Europe. So the difference, I think the cemetery can afford to pay that. But the longer I wait to decide on this, I don't know how many more is gonna come in. If we're lucky, only one or two, but when they come in, I'm gonna tell them I can't take their order yet. I don't know what else to do. I don't wanna keep taking a loss if we drag this out for a long period of time. Now, the mayor knows, and he wants to set up a cemetery meeting, so everybody has to be aware that we're facing this change.
And there are companies that do this.
No, not that I'm ever aware of. I know nobody.
Well,
They're mostly
there's a
independent
place
contractors.
in Canton, I don't know if they do the bases,
I don't-
Rick Miller.
Yeah, I know. what
No,
you're
that's-
talking
no,
about,
no.
but
He
that-
doesn't
I
do
don't think
basic.
that's.
No,
the
that was
case.
his wife that got the deal. That was Michelle. Yeah, no, he doesn't do bases.
Okay.
He makes the monuments, and see, that's what we normally deal with, is the monument company.
Mhm.
Rick, all these years, I've been here 20-some years, Rick and Gary always did this for the village. And now we see one of the reasons why he wants to give it up. For $199.95, that's what we paid him.
To do this.
Yeah, well, we paid him a little bit more, but he still had to pay a worker out of it. Because it takes two people to do them, it doesn't take just one.
Now, does this 448, does that also include the concrete and all that?
Yes, that's
Okay,
everything.
so that is everything.
He doesn't set the monuments, he just gets them ready to be set by the monument company. And I'm guessing, John, the 448 is right. Rick and I were looking at how he said to do it, and I was a little bit lost on that. Because he said you multiply the inches by each other. Well, I came up with 448, but the first time I'm thinking I was a little bit higher than that. So I need to talk to Alan again, but bottom line, he's gonna be a lot higher than we are. So the monument companies and the residents that have to put in a monument down here are gonna be surprised. We've been very kind with the cost of our sale of lots and our opening and closings over the years, that we were hollowed at by the auditors to start getting in line with the other cemeteries.
And that's why
This
we're
is just
gonna-
another thing that we have to address, that we have to get on this.
So we have to, the individual that's gonna do this, do they have a plan of license?
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Well,
he
they have to
is
be insured
bonded.
and bonded.
Yeah,
Anybody that works for us has to do that.
yeah, he has to be insured and bonded, and he told me the company, but I didn't write it down because I told him, you need to write everything down for me so I can see it and eventually give it to council, but I wanna give you a heads up now. The longer I take to get it done, the longer it's gonna be for you to figure it out.
Why does the village pay this instead of the customer?
They do, but, okay,
We have to pay up front.
we will pay Alan, but we will bill the customer Alan's price. The only thing that we would, that we could consider, let's make believe it's 448 to put in a vet marker. If you wanna charge an extra 100 in the end, we bill them 548, keep 100 and give the balance to Alan when he bills me. But the bill comes through me, and then it goes to Alan, and it's just, he does not deal with the monument companies, I have to.
Well, I know we deal with different funeral homes too, but doesn't Barb include some of this, and she does not? That would be something that should be included with funeral
No,
expenses, you would think.
no, this is burial expense. And once they pay their first lot, Georgie, and they're permitted to be buried down there, they own that property.
Mhm.
It's up to the family or whoever that's handling the estate to get a hold of a monument company, decide what they want, make sure it's permissible. The monument company contacts me with the size. I tell the person who's gonna dig it and pour it. I bill it out, they collect the money and they pay me. Very rarely does the person pay me. On occasion, if it's a local person, they may stop and pay me, but most of the time it goes through the monument company.
So if somebody would get a big fancy monument, this is gonna be higher.
A lot higher.
Yeah.
This is for the small, what are
This is
they?
like
It's
the
like a
base ones.
standard.
The standard monument for a vet is what, like this? I don't have it here in there, I
You're
can
talking
show
about just the flat thing in the ground?
you. You got it,
Yep.
For this?
yes.
That's a lot of cement.
It's a lot of,
That's 3 foot.
you gotta remember, we go down 3 feet for those. On the big monuments, Rick and Gary have always gone down 4 feet. Now, some cemeteries refuse to do that, they won't do that. That's been our standard, so they don't tip whatever happens to them in the ground. This man said he will go down 4 feet for us if we want to continue to go down 4 feet, but it will be more than, it'll be higher in cost.
Now, and we're able to take that cost and give it to the
Mhm.
customer, right?
You bet.
I just wanted to make sure.
That's why we're gonna do
Exactly.
it.
That's why I'm pushing this
Right.
through now, so everybody can look at it, think about it. If you know anybody, you're welcome to call. I've been here 20 years. This is the
Mhm.
only person I've ever heard that's ever done this.
Deb, can I, if you could guess how many more orders do you?
Oh, not that many.
Okay, my question, or my thought is, Diane just had hers done, my husband did the footer for Eric's. He dug that by hand, and this is what he does, he did the roof, so it's Highland Masonry is the company. So if I ask him
Where's it buried?
for a quote, Eric including who was right finish on it.
Your husband put a footer in down there?
Yeah.
Really?
It's not an extra footer for, but no.
Really?
Diane
It came on.
got the okay for meal, but you know, it's not a big one.
Yeah,
And you should know what it is, you should know exactly what it is, because she brought it to you.
I know.
But his company may be able to provide an estimate for this, because they do footers all the time. Not specifically for cemeteries, but I can ask.
They have to be able to come down and have them check. Can they get their equipment in around the stones?
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they do some amazing things, I can check.
Check it and have them contact us, because
Yeah.
I will not spend a day on the
Well, a
phone trying to
company
guess who
like-
does them.
Like them, I just know that they charge really for labor and material. And if I figure, I know my husband's company can go do it within an hour, and I know what they would charge for that, I have a feeling it's gonna be lower than that 548. So I would be interested in asking them.
You
just
need to
for-
get it in.
yeah.
If you think that they could do this,
How
the-
fast do you need an estimate?
Yesterday.
yeah, yes, no,
Yeah, yes.
we will not pour until the spring. We pour twice a
Okay.
year, okay? I close out the end of March.
Okay, so Jim, it would be Mo's that you spoke with before, you should have his contact information, is Jim allowed to make that phone call?
Yeah, he
Get
can
an
make it.
estimate? Feel free to call him, he already has his contact information, because he did the.
Yeah, Jim, you don't have anything else to do, right?
That's right.
Sorry, Jim. I can
Jim,
call
you work for the
I
parks, you
can.
work for the CIC, come on, Jim.
Come on, it's fine.
I can call for you, but I mean, you guys already have his contact, because he's already done work for us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of anybody that does cemetery lots. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I just know they do that often, and it won't take that long, and if they're billing hourly and, by labor material.
The bottom line, they'll have to work with Rick. I want whoever does it, work with Rick, so Rick knows as he's coming out, whoever's coming in is doing what we expect them to do. Because some places will say they'll do it, and they don't.
Right,
They don't.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I'd say
that'd be
make
great.
that contact if you're interested in another quote that deep rather than.
And in between now and next council, are we able to get Alan to confirm or deny whether that 70 cents is a guarantee for X amount of time? Because I would hate to see it, you know, we go with the 448 and then in 6 months he goes from 70 cents to say $1. You know what I mean? And it'd be nice to have a concrete, contract with him, yeah.
Concrete, that's good.
Yeah, no pun intended, yes.
Well, actually, I can get you whatever you want from him.
But, yeah, I'm
And
sure-
bottom line, I'm sure he's gonna honor it. He's not gonna
Mhm.
tarnish his name with doing with
Oh,
all the
absolutely.
cemeteries. But,
I'm sure at least in your contract.
yeah, and that way I can have him explain again about how, because he does not calculate it the way I do,
Okay,
at all. It's completely different.
okay.
So, yeah, I wrote that down to get a hold of him, and actually, I will end up calling his wife, and she'll probably do it in the end anyhow for him.
Okay.
Because this is a part-time job for him.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm. After that, let's see. I hope I didn't miss it. Did you do the legislation yet for the Massillon Transportation contract?
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
good. Okay, just wanted to
I did.
remind someone.
Dispatch.
You did dispatch, I got that.
Okay.
It's for the Massillon Transportation contract. You either had the mayor or the police chief was gonna send that to you.
I don't think that I
Did
received.
you do that?
I don't have it.
I don't think I received the contract.
Okay.
I don't know that they've given me the.
I sent it to you and you were gonna
Did you?
share it.
I probably didn't then.
March
Let me look.
15th, 2021, Massillon Transportation.
No,
Yeah, that's the
I
only
got
one
it.
we got, yeah.
No, I've got it. Right
You
there.
did?
Right there. Here, Stephen, let me give you this copy. I have it there right
I
here.
feel like I was kicking Hazel, but I don't think.
So we just needed that, and they're not gonna stop doing it for us, but,
This is the contract for legal services for the prosecutor.
oh, that's the prosecutor one?
Right. With the, Justin Richard.
Debbie, I might be.
I thought that was the transportation one. My bad.
Yeah, Debbie, I'm not seeing that one in my email. I might. And I just looked real quick, so I look again.
Okay, I'll look again. I think we do one for that too, don't we?
Which one's
Do
that
we do
one?
one for the prosecutor?
I think we should have to renew the
Okay.
contract
Okay.
Okay.
for this year. He should be sending us a new one.
He usually sends it.
I think this is our first full year with them. So I'll get with them and see where. I'll give him a call tomorrow.
Okay, under the legislation, ordinance 2201 is going to be the second reading. It's an ordinance to authorize the annexation of contiguous territory owned by the Village of Beach City, Ohio, pursuant to revised code 709.14. Second reading of ordinance number 2202, an ordinance to amend section number 2B of the ordinance number, which was our regional payroll ordinance, establishing salaries, hourly rates of pay, and benefits for positions in the Village of Beach City. This is where we made the mistake and we forgot to correct the higher rate for the cemetery sector. It's the second reading. Oh, no, I took it. Yeah, second reading of the permanent appropriations, an ordinance making the permanent appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Beach City, Ohio during fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. You have
I
a,
had a question. Normally, we get a copy of the ordinance for the first reading, and we just got this one. And then I can come back and get it as you do each reading.
we keep back to those minutes are goofy. What number is that, George, 2202?
The 22 for the permanent.
I don't have it here. Do you have last,
Oh,
the minutes for the last one?
I do.
it would have been, no. It would have been the end of January, right?
January 17th was our last meeting.
I don't have it.
Aha.
This would make.
The 2203, is that what it is?
Yes.
We don't have enough of them, do we?
Yeah, that's-
Okay, so it was the first reading. I wrote the second reading down on my page on it, where I was reading from. So this is your permanent appropriations. You should have attached all this documentation that explains appropriations. You do have that, thank God for that. Okay, we have ordinance number 2204, American Legal Publishing. How do you have that? Good, okay. It's an ordinance approving, adopting, and enacting the American Legal Publishing's Ohio Basic Code 2022 edition as the code of ordinances for the municipality of Beach City, Ohio, and it says in declaring an emergency, but we normally give it 3 readings.
Tell you how much it was.
I looked through this paperwork and I didn't
I
see
know,
the invoice yet. The invoice is usually around $500 and some dollars.
I know. it's
And we
obscene.
get, what, 6 copies of the book? Yeah. 5, even 5 copies of the book. You have them there, the books are here.
Mhm.
Okay, I have the resolution 2201. It will be the 3rd reading. A resolution to authorize the mayor of the village of Beach City, Ohio to execute a contract with Ohio Billing.
I have a question on that too, I'm so sorry.
Okay. I don't make these all up.
The reading. There's something about him signing it is farther in the readings than us doing the contract. You know, it's like first reading to do the contract and second reading for him to sign it.
I think this is the one that you needed to ask Ohio Billing, what one of the phrases meant or what they were referring to in the contract. And I had to have Pam call you. I need to talk to Pam because I wasn't sure what
Yeah, and
I
I,
could answer you.
and I spoke with her. I'm trying to find the email where you sent it to me. So I spoke with her. The question that I had was, in the contract, there was a reference to a processing agreement. So the first agreement is a business associate agreement, and then the second agreement is a service agreement, and the first agreement references a processing agreement that is incorporated into the first agreement. And the question I had is there another agreement, a third agreement, that's being incorporated in this that we don't have the terms for? So when I spoke with the lady at Ohio Billing, she said no, that it's a feature of the age of the contract having been changed, that processing agreement is the service agreement. They're one and the same, there is no other contract, and that she thanked me, she said nobody's asked that before. I'm gonna send it to our legal and they're going to make updates so that it no longer references the now non-existent processing agreement, which should be the service agreement.
So was there a wording that you caught?
The processing versus service, but processing is the service agreement. So everything is fine on my end with that clarification.
Does that help you?
I don't know if
No.
that's the question or not, that was my
Well,
issue.
because we're still like, it's the first reading for the contract and the second reading for him to sign it. I
He
mean,
doesn't
just-
sign it. Yeah, okay, I thought you.
No, my fingers trippy. So that's what caught my eye.
Okay.
So, I mean, go ahead, if everyone else is fine with that, that's fine with me. That since it was something he had to check on, it just caught my attention. It was like, that doesn't seem right, so. What do you think?
Just do our thing.
I just wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
So it's first reading of the contract.
No, it would be the third reading. To allow him to sign the contract.
Right. That we haven't agreed to sign, or that we haven't okayed the contract yet.
He did,
He okayed it.
yes,
We did.
correct.
Okay.
So you want to hold the contract and read it? and-
No, I'm just trying to get things clear in my head.
Don't confuse me, George.
I cannot make any promises.
So I don't know what you want to do, tell me. I mean, what are we doing?
The resolution is to authorize the mayor to sign the contract. And that would be council adopting the contract.
Correct.
And also protecting the mayor so that nobody ever comes back and says, hey, you had no authority to sign this contract. So I mean, the title of the resolution should clarify what is being done. Resolution to authorize the mayor of the village to execute the dispatch, that's a red set. But yeah, the title of it states, resolution to authorize the mayor to execute contract with Ohio Billing Incorporated. So that's, if he executes it, we adopt the terms, we're bound by them, unless council doesn't authorize.
So this would be our third reading. I read it the third, I'll never get my months right. The 3rd of January, the 17th of January, and now the third reading, the 7th of February.
So we just need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Not that I understand it.
Walter,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder.
Yes.
Okay. This has been a challenging. Okay, this is the, I have the second reading. It's a resolution number 2202, a resolution to authorize the mayor of the village of Peach City, Ohio to execute dispatch contract with the Regional Emergency Dispatch Center, also known as Logic. Will be your second reading. And thank you, I'm tired.
Good job.
You
All right,
held
thank
up, you held up really well under that pressure there.
Yes.
Like, woo! Got it.
Well, we don't have anybody signed in, right?
No.
Okay. All right, well, Chief Anderson couldn't be here tonight, so. Report of calls, total calls year-to-date 26, last year 31. Mutual aid given to Brewster twice, given to Strasburg once. Received from Brewster 5 times and received from Mary Valley once. Update on the compressor. The compressor was the wrong compressor and must be sent back. Still waiting on the breathing air systems to pick up the compressor and ship the correct one back. He told me today that he talked to the gentleman that delivered it to him. They're gonna make sure, because we've had Wood Electric down here twice for that, and they're gonna make it right. And that's what they told him, because he said, he goes, this will be the 3rd time I got, and he goes, that isn't right. They said it's wrong, so we'll see. Now, he's not happy about this. The grass truck is still waiting on wiring harnesses. The guy said that he'll get it fixed, everything working fine, drives down the road, he gets around 50 or 60, and he goes, all of a sudden, the whole truck just shuts off. And he goes, he pulls over the side, start right back up again. And he's trying to find out what's going on, he's not too sure. Completing signing the Cleveland Clinic for EMS protocols. Fire siren is now fixed and worked properly again. The only money that he wants is, he would like to have $700 for John Lee to go to the Dayton extrication class.
Education class.
And that will be held on April 23rd and 24th.
I'll make a motion.
Is that a trip, like, you gotta just take something?
Yeah, the member is responsible for his own lodging, food, and mileage.
Oh, so that's just for the class?
That's just for the class, yes, expedition, so.
Wow. I'll second.
Walter,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder.
The thing about the solicitation ordinance, I was just wanting to run a couple of things past you. I know on the form that we have now that we give to people, it says you can use this permit for up to a year. Most places give you 30 days, which I thought a year sounded pretty weird too. We're only charging $25, everybody else around is at least 50, so I figured we'd move it up to 50. There was no time on the thing, and I figured maybe we could put like from 9 AM to sunset or 7 or something like that. The exemptions, they have exemptions for people that are providing political literature and stuff, like going around asking people to sign, you know. That's an exception. Another one, the one that they had in Brewster didn't apply to fearless students when they were trying to, you know, walk around, you know, for candy and stuff, you know, I mean, I don't think anybody will call the cops anyway, but you never know. I think that was about basically, oh, and the religious institutions, so. But I told Stephen tonight that, maybe we can work on that, and see about getting that in there. I've only had 2 since I've been here, and we got another guy's coming from ICG, because, you know, they're gonna come up about the gas, since I already know about that. But I figured out, at least when I get up to $50, we'll have something on the books too, have some rules and stuff. So, on the time, what do you guys think would be 9 to sunset or 9, because like, you know, like
9 to
sunset's
5.
at 10. Well, a lot of people, well, too bad for them, huh?
I mean,
I know what you're saying.
personally, I mean, I don't wanna be bothered after 5 o'clock.
Well, that's a good point.
And I don't wanna be bothered before 11.
Well, I mean, make it 11 to 5 then.
You're right, and most people
I
don't
just don't
even,
answer my door.
they do come down during the daytime, so,
Right.
yeah. We can do that.
You do 9 to 5 only?
We can do that, yeah.
Just a suggestion, of course.
Just
You know,
the
they can
question, what do the
always-
other communities do?
Yeah.
Most
Do
of
you put a
them-
time frame
Most
on
of them I
there?
seen was 9 to sunset. Because
Okay.
wintertime
Right, I
is
mean,
5, I mean, it's dark at 5, and then in
Right.
summer, it's
10.
10 o'clock before it gets dark, so. But
But-
of course, I don't want anybody at my house at 9
I
o'clock at
know.
night
I was gonna
either.
say, on the flip side of that, some people do work midnights and after, you know, whatever. Personally, I wouldn't want them to come to my house at 8:30 at night, even though it's still light out.
Even if it's summertime, I would.
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm working midnights, I'm sleeping.
I like the 9 to 5 better.
I mean, we don't have many people that use it.
No, we don't, and like I said.
2 in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
well, and I know Jack said he never issued a solicitor
Right.
the whole time he was there.
Mhm.
That could be because he was never here
That could.
during the day.
Yeah, yes.
During the day.
And I wouldn't take up the job.
Yeah.
No,
come on.
I wasn't, no, I wasn't.
But
on
they
that.
can leave
I was
some
gonna say, if they need to,
literature
they
if
can leave
nobody's
literature.
home. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like they can't.
Right. Most of them
Somehow.
come during the day anyways, so.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. So, yeah.
Are there changes then that you want made? I don't know if I have a copy of the,
Well, we don't have a board.
oh, I think you said there
Well,
is one in the
There's a
25.
form, no, there's a form
Okay.
that they had, and it was like, when they make out the form, it has the price on it, and then it said like up to a year, and I'm going, that's a little bit
Do
weird.
you have a used form, John?
I got one, yeah.
If you could give it to me, I didn't even have an old one that I could copy for Steve. I
Sure.
didn't have
There
it.
has to be an ordinance at some.
Well, that's what we.
How else would we have
Could be
it?
a long time ago.
Yeah.
And maybe they just made a form,
No, I bet you there was legislation long, long, long ago.
it probably was, 'cause I went back to what, 1990 $27 when they got or something like that.
It was before Deb.
Yeah, and I couldn't find it, so. And that's why it was $25, because it's probably trying to keep everybody out of there. Because $25 back then.
We could do the same thing, we could make it, $100 and
Well,
keep
you
people
don't-
on that.
Yeah, I can have that sent over to you.
Okay.
Or I can give you, I can go in there and get it for you.
Can somebody just send it to me with whatever the changes are?
Yeah, sure.
And then I have it
Sure.
so I know.
Yep, I sure will, bud. I'll send it to you tomorrow. Yep. All right. Let's see, Nathan, did you want to do a committee report tonight or?
Just briefly, if I may.
Sure.
The utility committee meeting met on January 20th. There were no prior documents of that committee to review, so we kind of started at ground zero. There was information provided by Matt Miller, Kai Zerker, and John Courtney at the meeting. I've provided the people who attended that meeting with a copy of the minutes from that, and there were some requests for further information from Jim, which he's provided some of it, and there's other documents that have come to light since then. There's some evaluation of where the community is with replacement of the water meters, and Jim was kind enough to give me the detailed report on that. But there's still some further need for information about where we're going to go with replacing water meters, and equally importantly, the technology required for reading those meters and the maintenance ongoing with the, I guess, some kind of device to read them that they carry around, that they can access the meters electronically. They don't actually have to come into the house. So I'm proposing that we have another utility committee meeting next week if possible. In the meantime, if the people that I provided those meeting minutes for could review those, put any edits or changes or additions suggested in my mailbox, and I'll make sure that they're available for the next meeting. And then if there's further need for information that people want, committee members want for that next meeting, Jim will primarily be the contact person for that. So,
Was there a particular day you were looking to do the next meeting?
Mr. Bolzer can't make it Monday or Tuesday, so.
That's good. So we do Monday. Oh,
So Wednesday.
well, I was gonna, there's a complicating factor for me.
No, we're talking about.
I'm
next
having
week.
surgery on Monday, so Monday's probably not gonna be a great day for me. I was thinking maybe next Thursday, if
Next
that
week.
works out.
17th.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be.
At what time? At 6?
6
Yeah.
If 6 is agreeable with others, that would be fine for me.
Is that this week or the next week?
Maybe next week.
That's next week.
Yeah, that's next Thursday. Yeah.
And for the committee members, if you have anything on that agenda, questions for information, please let me know, and we'll see if we can get that before the meeting. So this is my effort to just get it all out on the table so the committee can come up with an idea of where we are, so we can present it to the council as a whole. I've been impressed for a long time with how frequently the utilities are the topic of conversation in this community. And
Good impressed.
really, really grateful to be part of that committee.
Yeah, I guess I sort of put the screws to you.
No, I didn't say that. I said I was grateful. It's an opportunity for improvement. It's what we used to call it.
I had to go on Facebook today to find out if my electric was on or not.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, one of the things that I've found from my brief forays into social media is, you know, everybody has an opinion and few are informed.
Yes.
And for me, I can't suggest the appropriate action for others. but oftentimes, I find it useful and for my serenity to just leave it alone.
That's what I do.
Because you can't have a thoughtful, intelligent dialogue with somebody in a social media format. You
I
just can't,
never-
and I've done some thinking about how I would approach the situation if somebody wanted to tag me as I went into the post office and ask what the committee was doing. I would just suggest that these are open meetings, and you're a member of the community, and if you're really interested in what we're doing, please come to the committee or the council meeting, sign in, have your opportunity to be heard, and then that way it's part of the, you know, it's a public forum, and there's an accurate record of what was said. But the format of social media is just a horrible cesspool to wade around in for me. And-
That's why I don't engage them.
Well, I mean, it's great to,
I like
you know,
to
see
read them.
cute videos of puppies, but other than that, it's not useful.
I know, but I just signed up, so I didn't know if actually one
I just
legitimately
signed
did
up
go
today
up.
also.
Jim,
Okay.
you sent out, Lord. Did you send one out today?
Not today.
Oh,
It was only like, what, 15 minutes, it was out.
Mine went out twice.
you would be
Oh.
amazed though, I was saying, within seconds, that phone was ringing.
Yeah.
People just, it was like this right on the phone, like as soon as it went out, I mean, they didn't even wait a minute, and they were calling the utility department.
But we didn't do any alerts today.
No.
No.
Yeah, I just sent it to you. Did you have anything on the park?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I have a minutes on those. I would like to share that with the council. Excuse me. We had our meeting, we thought we'd wrap up. And, of course, we did. So, yep, we did
I
this.
think you got a file going, Ken, but yeah.
We didn't finish up, we were working on, rules and regulations for the use of the park. So, we had a brief when we drew up, and our committee went over those. And after we went over, we discussed it, and came up with some items that should be on there, so it helped that up. We got those put in, and we want some others that we put in. So, like our committee, as Mr. Porter's committee, we're working on a package to present to council for to vote and have a resolution put in place. So, we'll still work on our rules and regulations, and then we will also be working on what's the next thing we'll work? Sorry.
Is it the rental of
Yeah,
the pavilion?
rental, cost for the pavilion and other items. And then after that, we'll be working on a budget to work through the year. So I would like to back that up with calling for another park and recreation meeting for Wednesday, February 9th, 6 o'clock at Village Hall. And again, that's an open meeting, and if anybody wants to come, they're welcome.
Wednesday, February 9th. What was the time again?
6.
6? Okay. Yeah, I think that's good for me.
All right, thank you. Mr. Guy, Chief Guy, I mean, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
May I, see about something in finance?
What's that?
Finance committee.
Yeah, but,
Can we do it at a different time? I have Thursday, February 10th. So, and it would be, you,
Sure.
you're on finance.
Sure.
Do you know
I don't
that you
remember-
are?
I don't remember all the, I don't remember them all.
Okay, here. Do you have a copy?
I do, I'm sure I do.
Walter Hart.
Yeah, so it is you.
Yeah, you're there. Oh, yeah, I'm on that, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I knew that, yeah.
all right.
so you want this on the 10th?
That's what I was looking for, please.
Okay.
you,
Perfect.
okay.
And what day was that again?
This
The
is, it'll be
10th.
this Thursday, the tenth.
It'll be this Thursday.
Hold on.
And I don't mind going to next week either.
So gonna be at 7 o'clock?
Can you
Um,
tell me, is there anything that you will need to provide at that meeting?
You've given me quite a bit, I'm gonna review it, then, what, minutes, previous minutes. If that's-
For
Oh, I'm
finance.
sure they did Judy minutes, I may have some notes.
Well, he said there wasn't any available for him, I was wondering if
Exactly.
there's any available for me, okay.
I mean, I may have some old notes that I've kept over the
Okay,
years.
no, just within the last, 6 months to a year, so.
So,
Okay, thank you.
could we do something the following week?
Sure, I don't mind.
Is that? I'm open the following week, the Thursday, I would not be available this week.
15th would be the Tuesday,
Yeah, I can't make it then.
okay, 17th Thursday.
That would be, or.
We have
Utilities.
the utility meeting
Right.
that,
Okay.
Yeah.
that day.
You can accommodate.
Do you wanna do one back to back or just different days?
Mm, yeah,
No,
do back
too
to
much, okay.
Yeah, too much.
That's fine, the 16th, we'll just go through the calendar. Back it up, Wednesday the 16th.
Wednesday the 16th, I'm free. but-
Okay,
I'm too.
and you're good,
I did the 16th.
Right.
16th, Chief,
Thank you.
Got it.
okay, thank you, now.
Okay. So with the vehicle, with the axle issue,
Yeah,
I took it down, we had to take it down to Parkway, to the dealership.
yeah.
Told them the same thing we told, Nick's, there's a grinding noise, asked them to check it. They fixed a couple recalls, nothing with the axles. Said we desperately needed to get new tires on it, so I have 3 estimates on the tires. Ziegler tire came in the cheapest, I went ahead and got the tires replaced on it. On the next oil change, I'm gonna have them check for the evenness of the wearing on the tires
The
and
alignment.
see if it needs an alignment. So we will go with the cheapest one on that one.
So essentially, what we're saying is there is no issues with the axles at all.
I do not know that because my officers have not really driven it yet, and if they start complaining about the
Parkway,
same,
Parkway stated that there was no
they
issues with,
didn't know that there was an issue, they just told me there's a grinding sound, and I asked them to look at it.
and they gave you,
They just did some recalls and didn't do anything with the axles,
so they gave you no response.
pretty much. And I haven't had any complaints from my officers since, so we'll see.
Do you have a
what happens.
work order from that,
For,
for that? I mean, you should have got paperwork for the recall and everything that you came in for.
they just checked the computer for recalls and then just fixed anything they found.
You didn't get any paperwork though.
I had to look at my sergeant, he's in charge of the maintenance, he just told me they didn't find anything with the
Okay.
axles, so I looked at that. I'm looking into, I'll let you guys probably know the next meeting, we're gonna do our CPR and AED recertification for my officers. I'm gonna call the lady who does it for the fire department, usually we join up with the fire department, but, she was talking about class sizes might be a little bit too big for her. So I'm gonna get with her and see if we can set something up, what her cost would be for the police department to do it on a separate date from the fire department. And be able to get our CPR and AED renewed. It's about every year to every 2 years, we get them all renewed in our certifications, I believe. Usually half of us do it 1 year, half of us do it the next year, it's every 2 years. But we're saying on the same page, we're doing it all once a year now, or once every 2 years now. So I'm looking at we're looking at that. I'm looking into putting GPSs in our cars
To get around town?
to monitor where they're at.
Oh, that kind of GPS.
Yes. So I'm looking, we've got a gentleman coming to meet with one of my officers, one officer Wednesday from the sheriff's office who does all their computer and stuff like that, their CAD system. What I'd like to do is, they're fairly inexpensive, put a GPS on it, and that lets dispatch know where my cruisers are at. And they can also let other officers, other departments know where the cruisers are at. So if they're on a stop or something and doing a checkup, or they pull somebody over and automatically get ambushed, then if they don't answer, then the other departments around us will know exactly where that cruiser is. So I'm looking into that, I'm studying it right now, see what it is. I think it's definitely something good to have, especially letting the other local departments know where my cars are at. And if we're backing up the sheriff's office on a call and get there first, we're out in the county, within a couple miles of radius of the villages, they at least can find where my car's at, even if they get in an accident or something, they're gonna see my car's not moving.
Don't the phones have GPS?
They do, but you gotta ping them, you gotta ping the number, so.
Well, I know they found my grandson within 50 feet, I mean, from his phone.
So that, in order to find it, but then again, I'm not gonna know there's an issue unless after some time passed, so I can call Verizon and I should be able to get our number pinged. But then I may also have to get a hold of, I think I'm an authorized user on there to be able to get that pinged. But it would just take much more steps to where I can just, my dispatcher automatic knows that car hasn't moved in 3 hours, what's going on, can send another unit to check up on them.
Does Brewster, Navarre, do they do the same thing?
There you have them, yes. From my understanding, they do. So village administrator looked into the impound lot a little bit for me. It's about $10,500 for the fencing, so it'll probably be about $15,000 to start an impound lot. Total is what my guesstimate's going to be. I want to do a study on it this year to see if it would actually be worth something to do before I move into actually doing an impound.
That would come out of the police fund, right?
That's your general fund?
No, that's police fund,
It becomes a general fund now, the police, yeah, so it's,
10,500 for fencing and then what else?
then we probably need
Security.
cameras, we need gravel,
So estimated 15.
estimated about $15,000 right now to get one started. I want to just do kind of a study and just ask around a little bit, see if it would be worth, for the amount of cars we tow, I want to make sure that it's going to pay for itself in the first few years, rather than, hey, we tow one car here,
Right.
and we just paid $15,000 for gravel in fenced area.
Now, we did talk about last time about the other communities also using it, correct?
Yeah, I have not had a
Have
chance,
not
I mean,
talked to anybody?
part of my studying on it. It's just, like, again, it was an idea that came across when I was visiting some other police departments that they do. So if it's something that could work for us, make us a couple bucks, then help out the town.
Definitely find out how many, Brewster, Navarre, they tow. I mean, if it's money that we can bring in, I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, and that's something if they're even interested, or if they legally can do that, I don't know. I'm at the very beginning stages and just kind of bringing it up to you guys, that's my research project right now.
How many cars could you put in that lot? I mean,
Did you
plan,
figure-
if you're planning.
8, did you say? 8 to 10? Isn't that what you said
What was
last
the
time?
actual
Something like
exact
that?
dimensions you had in full source? Was it
30 by
30
70?
30 by 70, 30 foot by 70 foot area.
So there's
Actually,
probably
probably-
8 or 10 cars maybe in there.
Actually, probably, yeah. Probably
That'd be
12.
plenty of cars, that'd be plenty, by the time you auction them off. I'm also looking at the process of getting the titles and everything else, it's like gonna be encumbersome paperwork to get it for a car that we're never gonna make any money off of. So there's a lot of what ifs, and
Mhm.
it's a research project, but just bring it to you guys' attention. Another thing, check on your neighbors, your elderly neighbors for me. Keep an eye on them. If you haven't seen it snowed, Thursday, Friday? If you haven't seen any snow prints going out to their mailbox, usually the post office is pretty good. If their mail collects for a few days, they're letting us know. But there's some, especially in town, that have PO boxes. If you see someone that hasn't left and there's no snow prints, I've told my officers the same thing, to make sure they're driving around, looking at houses they know are occupied. If they haven't seen any movement, we can get a hold of, the homeowner at least, or whose utility name is on it, and do a checkup. Just do me a favor, check on them, especially, I've got a 95-year-old right now that goes out and still shovels her driveway. Like, scares me every time.
That's probably why she's 95, though, she gets exercise.
I mean, about once every couple months, she'll leave the dome light on in her car, and they're like, oh, boy, is she okay? But just to, that's one of the houses we know to check on, but just, if they decide to go out and decide to shovel their sidewalk or something, let us know, just keep an eye out. The new bulletproof vests that we got a grant for last year have all been ordered. Once they come in, Debbie, we'll have to pay for that up front, and we'll get reimbursed. I believe it was the 75 or 80% of that. The officers will be part of it, then the village will pay part of it, but all my officers should have all new vests within the last 3 years that wanted a new vest, but I'm pretty sure that covers 95% of them. I think I can only think of 1 or 2 that didn't get new vests, and their vests were fairly new already. So we should be pretty up to date on the vests. Other than that, that is all I have.
No money.
All right.
I
Don't
have a
bring that up.
question. You go first.
We were supposed to get a monthly report from you.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
it.
That was a good thing, I was gonna bring it, finish it up.
Don't worry, I got you covered.
How is Lomite coming along with their court stuff?
Thank you.
Nice work. They are working, I can turn that over. One of my officers is working on it, see if you don't see that.
They haven't started yet?
No, there's a, waiting on, I believe, the BND for a couple things.
So one of our officers is working on doing our sport.
It won't be on.
It's their, part of their contract.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah,
ask.
they're
Yeah.
just charging their time for it, we're not paying for it.
That's what I was asking.
Did I miss you? I'm sorry. No, I'm good. I should have.
And when is their year up again?
It should be the end of April.
So when it says total hours remaining this year, that means up until April, their contract year.
It's contract year, yep.
That's why I asked, because I
Yeah.
never can remember.
Does everyone else get one?
Thank you, Kurt.
You're welcome. And you had a question for me?
Yeah, back to the first thing you were talking about CPR.
Yes.
And I know the chief is not here, but maybe I can ask later, which is fine. Do we have anyone on the department who's licensed in CPR instruction?
On my department?
Well,
Or fire?
over here at fire.
No, they bring somebody.
They always bring somebody.
She does it fairly cheap for us. She usually does
Okay.
a really good deal.
I've had to have CPR for like the past 20 years, and I'd always packed into some fire department and get it renewed.
Yep.
I just didn't know if there's someone over here, is there anyone who's interested that could keep us all up on CPR?
I think she's honestly, her cost is generally,
Okay.
her,
My thought then was if we had an instructor, was the same way I did. When I went in to get mine, I paid. I don't know where they put the money, but I paid for that.
Mm.
That could be a way of,
yeah, she generally charges, don't quote me on this, I believe it's like $3 a person.
super cheap.
Yeah, it's super, I know,
Okay.
that's for the fire department, I don't have the exact total, so please don't quote me on what the numbers are, but I'm gonna call her and see, it could be $50 a person for the police department, I'm not sure.
I would love to
How
have
it
an
works.
instructor who could help our radius.
I do have an instructor on my department.
Okay, well, I have to go to Pomeranian Hospital for mine.
Yeah, my wife has to try to find a
It'd
place
be
to
nice
do
if we
it
had
too.
someone here, I'd go pay for it.
Yeah, I believe my officer charged like $45 a person last time whenever he had to do them.
Yeah.
So that's why with her, it's even, just have her come in and
Yeah.
she can do it.
I recently renewed my CPR certification at the YMCA. So you might wanna check.
Do they do the professional?
That, yes,
Yeah, obviously
mine
would be
was a
professional, yeah.
professional, healthcare provider.
I've got a membership down there.
Covered
Check that.
AED.
Which YMCA was that at?
Dover.
Dover?
That's the one I go to, so yeah, they have those.
But if you're a member of one YMCA, you can
Yeah.
go to any of them.
Oh, yeah,
It's covered in your-
absolutely, yeah.
In your membership.
I'm not a member of the YMCA. I guess my thought too was to get us all covered, but then possibly have a revenue from anyone who uses CPR.
Yeah,
to
let
come
me,
in and pay for
let me
it.
clarify that. I'm a member of the YMCA. I still had to pay
Oh, okay.
in order to get my certification there.
Mm.
It was $25.
Okay, well, still cheaper than
It's,
mine.
it's not bad.
I do my
I mean,
BLS
it's-
online and then
it's
I
a-
pop into a fire department and I do my hands-on. It would just be a great way to, because how many people in there, I have to go to Millersburg for it. I guarantee that we would have that.
If anyone on council, I mean, you guys are all welcome to join my class, that if I can get put on with her, and it's a big enough site.
I will do that next time I'm due.
Well,
Yes, I
there's,
mean,
Well,
there's an
I charge-
education center up near North Canton, up by, near the airport, that does those CPR training classes at least twice a month. And they process 30, 40 people through there.
Right. I have to be American Heart Association.
That's what this is,
Okay,
AHA. So do I.
okay.
that's it.
Yeah, I was just trying to find revenue for the
Yeah, no,
department.
absolutely,
It'd
let
be
me,
nice to have
let
an
me check
instructor
and see, yeah, let me see what she charges.
Yeah.
I could be completely off, I haven't talked to her what she's gonna charge the police department to get it done. I know she's fairly inexpensive and does fairly good, but I see what you're,
Yeah, I'm not
What
here
you're
right
saying.
now, but it'd
Right.
be nice to have someone over here.
yeah, absolutely, cause sometimes it is hard, my wife is, does physical therapy and it's hard for
Bring
her.
in funds.
Yep.
Chief, when you, when you talk to her, find out if we can do something like that, because I'm due. So find out if I could join with the police officers, and that would be, I'll pay for it, obviously. so.
Yeah, I would have no problem with, as long as she's okay with it, I
Yeah,
have
let
no
me
problem
know,
with
please.
council, at least the council or village employees joining in our class to get theirs up to date, if the class size allows for her.
Mhm.
Because I know her concern was with us joining the fire department class has to get too big. So I'm gonna check into it, I'm gonna give her a call. Yeah, it's a good thought. All right, that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Mr. Spivey, you're up, sir.
Okay, water, wastewater, I'm working with Quick Sols. We're still trying to solve our NOVs. Most of them have been resolved. I still have some issues with the contingency plan and our asset management plan, which is, our contingency plan is if in case emergency, we have a booklet that is the plan for what we're supposed to do. It's full of numbers, contacts, procedures that we would follow. And I think the last time it was updated was in 2020, November. So a lot of the names have changed and some of the things that the EPA wants to add. So I'm working with Quick Sols on that. So we'll be seeing a couple bills from them for that. And then also the asset management is basically what it says, managing our assets. So infrastructure, and I'm gonna add the fact that we're upgrading our water meter system and those sorts of things have to be part of that asset management plan. Just wanna make everyone aware of that. And also, I gave council a copy of the Annixter quote for the meter reading equipment. That's the latest one I got. And in there, that is two separate things. The first two pages is us maintaining the piece of equipment that we have currently, which is no longer supported by Itron. It's outdated, but they can do a software upgrade and get it to read the new meters that we've had issues with. Every time we replace a meter, it will not read it because there's a serial number issue, and a software upgrade would correct that. But I think we're throwing good money after bad if we do that route, because the equipment is no longer, and we have limited time of servicing that. So then second set of that quote is replacing our hardware with new equipment, new radios, receivers, the drive around equipment for the truck, and updating the computer itself, collection device, which is a little bit more, but I wanted you guys to be aware. And with that Annixter quote, we're maintaining the Itron system, which is what we currently have. All of our meters and ERTs and all the reading devices are Itron. So I think we're gonna save a little bit in the long run if we stay with that. So that's just information I thought I'd share with you guys. And if we do have when we do have our next committee meeting, we can go into that in a little more detail. And then street department, again, I want to send out another good job to Rick. He's been really working hard at trying to keep our streets in good shape, and I think he's done a pretty good job at that. So anytime you guys see Rick, give him a congratulations. He's done a bang-up job being by himself. He had a little bit of help today. We cleaned up the downtown area, the sidewalks, got all the windrows picked up, and he's gonna do probably a little bit more of that tomorrow. Just getting some of the extra piles of snow hauled away. We actually been hauling it down to the park down by at the bottoms down there to get it out from downtown. And then the electric, today we had 2 outages, and I found out after the fact that those were planned outages. They were doing some line clearance somewhere between here and our sub over in the other side of Brewster.
It's at Elton and Pigeon Run there behind the church. There's a sub that's ours. So somewhere between here and there, they were doing line clearance. So they shut things down
They didn't tell us.
and we were unawares. I know a couple people that are customers of theirs, they were made aware of what was going on. I know Progressive Foam, they knew about it before it happened, and we did not. So,
Would that be Ohio Edison?
yes, ma'am,
Okay.
Do you know why we weren't made aware of it?
I do not. So that explains a little bit there. We did not know that was gonna happen. Also, I have received 2 pole attachment agreements from different entities that wanna use our poles for cable, broadband, different things coming from different areas. One of them wants to hook to the tower here, just south of town, the cell tower. And they've given me signatures on those, and I would like council's approval to sign those and make them binding contracts with them. There is a rate that we put on there for compensation for pole attachments. And I think it's a fair rate. It's not too high, and it's not, beyond cheap either. And the entities have agreed to the rate as well. So if anyone wants to see those, I do have copies.
That won't interfere with the current provider that's on the tower? No.
No.
But the gentleman who came in and approached council asking if he could put,
No. That gentleman wanted to put an antenna on our water tower. These are cable providers that want to attach to our poles with their cables.
What are their companies?
One of them is Charter Communications, which is Time Warner Spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is Everstream, which is another broadband provider, and they're going south. So they're coming up here to connect to the pole, to the tower, and they're running south of here. So
Is that fiber optics?
Yeah, I believe so.
And, okay, now, would we, so if we have fiber optics running through town, would we as village people have access to that?
I don't think so. They're just using the cell tower for a signal, and they're sending it somewhere else. Our provider is right now Spectrum.
Why I was curious,
Yeah,
because we have an option.
yeah,
Was there an option from Maslin previously? Or?
That's what all the requests from people, citizens are Maslin.
I mean, that's where I came from.
Yeah, Maslin.
Massive cable.
Yeah.
Don't
Massive
complain about
stops.
that, just like they do.
There are specific rules.
I think they have territories.
Yes.
Yes, that they can't step into other people's territories. The existing company has to fault out somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
They're very cautious they don't do that.
So the copies you'll give us has the fees that.
Yeah,
or the-
yes,
what
it's a
they-
contract.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh. It's all there. It's quite lengthy, and I just didn't want to make a bunch of copies.
Yeah, I'll take a copy.
What are we charging them?
It's $9.62 per attachment, so per pole. And then we, every once in a while, we'll do an audit where we go out and count. We do have some numbers, but I don't know if they're solid numbers on that because of all the different, we have Frontier, which is telephone. We do have some Maslin cables north of town. Spectrum is all through town, and then this new one, Everstream, is south of town. And then we have some Spectrum that was added down by Provia. So the numbers are always changing, and it's a big job to keep track of that, but we have some pretty good numbers right now. Poles that we're using, poles they're using, because it's a back and forth. Some of the poles, like the phone poles, Frontier owns, and we attach to them.
Right.
And then the poles that we own, that they attach to, we trade that off. So I charge them the same as they're charging me, and it balances out. But most of the time, we own more poles than anyone else does, so it's to our credit. And it's just one of those things we haven't looked at in a long time, and we kind of updated it. I've had the solicitor review the contracts, and he's satisfied with them, and I'm just asking council to give me your blessing on signing those.
I'll make a motion.
I would actually like to see a contract.
Okay. Next thing.
Motion fails.
I'm sorry.
For one of us.
I gave you guys a copy of this Brewster Solar interconnection options. I've just been made aware of this yesterday, no, Friday. The load study that First Energy did for our solar field, they're getting a little bit edgy about us fixing this. And the mayor and I are gonna work with the solicitor on figuring out what's going on. I'm also working with Mr. Courtney to figure out what our steps are, what we need to do. But the document that I gave you is AMP's suggestion and options on which steps we need to take to remedy the situation. And basically it boils down to, they do not want our solar field backfeeding onto their substation, First Energy. So I'm making you aware, we're gonna figure this out and try to figure out what we gotta do next to prevent any fines or, I don't wanna say threats, but of shutting us off as a town.
They might shut us up. We'll just, as far as I know, I don't know, but we can talk with the solicitor when it's his turn, but if I remember correctly, we have nothing to do with that.
Solar field?
That's up to them. Yeah, and if they didn't do the job right,
That's on them, not on us?
yeah, you know, if it comes down to either the village or the solar field, guess which one's gonna get cut off?
Absolutely.
You know, I have no problem. The bad thing about, what I don't like about what First Energy did, they've been talking to solar plant for the last 3 months, they haven't talked to us at all. And then all of a sudden, they just pop this thing to him like that. It's, so,
We've known about this for a couple meetings though. I know we've talked about it,
oh yeah,
and besides having them turn us off or whatever, the worst thing about it all is for it to cause a death. And that's what could happen.
Yeah.
oh yeah. We understand.
How long has this been going on?
I learned about it when I first got here, the load study. And then we got the load study to happen. Stephen helped with that. And
Solar
then,
Planet paid.
and
for
Solar
that.
Planet paid for the load study.
Mhm.
And they did that, and we got the results, which were, I mean, it was all Greek if you ask me. But it meant nothing, other than they don't want us backfeeding. And so they proposed this repair, and it was 80,000, and now we're up to, you know, whatever those things are, from AMP. And like the mayor says, AMP, Solar Planet, First Energy have all been talking about this for a while, and then I get this the other day. And yeah, we've known about it, and I've been waiting for AMP and First Energy to get with us, to have a meeting to discuss what we need to do, and then I get an email like this. You know, with very little communication in between time. It kind of sits raw with all of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, when that thing was put in, it was supposed to be.
It's supposed to
all
help
paid for.
us,
It
wasn't it?
didn't cost us nothing is what they
Well,
cost.
and
So in
this-
other words, they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Well, no, we know they didn't do that. How
Right.
they didn't even put in the driveway to get back there.
Right.
Does this email say that they're threatening us in any way financially?
Not any, well, yeah,
Yeah.
it says they could impose fees. It says, this is an issue between Beach City and First Energy, and basically has nothing to do with Solar Planet.
Which is crazy.
But that's not the
Which-
case, correct?
I don't think it is.
Don't we have contracts that we can fall
Yes,
back on?
yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, in the risk, if you want to disconnect the solar field, the risk is you're in violation of the contract. Because we have an obligation.
The one with Solar Planet,
Correct.
okay,
But aren't
Yeah.
they,
but they're,
but they broke the
At fault.
contract by not,
And it's tough in a public meeting to get too much
Okay,
into
I got
where
you.
you stand on different views. But yeah, if you disconnect the solar field, we're in breach of the they're gonna argue we're in breach. Our argument is going to be they were in breach, which is what gave rise to us terminating connection of the solar field. But we've known about it for a while. Solar Planet did step up. They took the cost on of the study, and now there needs to be a discussion about how that cost is allocated and what's done to correct it. So, I mean, it's difficult in a public meeting to go too much into, you know, I could say, I've got a great idea. We're gonna do A, B, C, D, and E, and then when the video is posted, then you
Do
know
we
that.
need to do an executive session for that?
I just looked to confirm, I don't think there's a basis under 121.22
To be able to
to
do
do an executive session.
Okay. We'll just.
I don't think that we're at pending or imminent. It's pending or imminent, meaning it's been filed,
Mhm.
or it's going, like, if the letter said, hey, or we're going to sue you, I'd feel comfortable that we could go into executive session. But
The email came from
First
directly, not their attorney.
No, that came from AMP, right?
It was
But
from an AMP
directly-
representative.
Okay. Representative, not a legal representative.
No. This gentleman, I believe, is,
Vice President.
no, he's over solar.
Yep, Vice President.
Yeah, it says it on the back here.
Oh, does it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Vice President. of-
Citadel?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Generation.
Generation operator, yeah.
But we'll let you
Solar.
take care of,
I'm still with the comment of the mayor saying it's their responsibility.
Absolutely,
so
it's
that's
solar.
where-
Oh, yeah.
That's where I would like to see what he comes up with.
yeah, well,
And, yeah.
we'll find out eventually. He saved us before, so you guys have been ahead. Yeah, I
Um,
forgot that.
Okay, next thing on my list is the website. Deb and I got together with our current provider, and we've actually purchased 2 more years of our web address and our the domain name, yes, that's correct, thank you. So, one trick to that, we bought 2 years worth to protect our domain name, but their old system is no longer valid, and we do have to create a new website on their new platform. But we're gonna maintain the same company. The emails, we can always add more emails, and I know what the price is, it's around $57 per email
Per year, right?
per year, if we add. No, that's $57 per email.
Per year, which is extremely
Per
cheap.
year.
That's dirt cheap.
Free is cheap,
It-
which comes with a $129 hosting package too.
it- Yeah.
Through the roof.
What-
HostGator, I mean, I can give you multiple, I mean, that's what I've done for a living, so. Right now, we're just paying for Office 365. Got $495 on the thing, what it comes out, 47. Times 10.
Yes. So, like I said, we do need to build a new website, and I know I've spoken with several of you about my daughter helping us with that, and I can't hire her to do that. She is looking into being insured and bonded to do that for us, if council would like for her to do that. I'm not suggesting that you do pick her, but she is willing to help us out to do that. That's something she does, is build websites. She has a couple customers that she's worked for. And if not, why, I will find somebody else that can help us do that.
How much is the charge?
She hasn't given me that.
She needs to put that in writing.
That might be
Tell
some
her-
of the information
Tell
I
her,
have.
tell her council
Well,
is what we're saying.
Now, does it go back to ethics again, Stephen? You know,
I mean, you would not be participating in authorization of the employment of the firm, because it would be counsel. So I don't think that it would be a violation of the law in that sense. like unauthorized interest in a public contract. Authorize or employ the authority or influence of a public official's office to secure authorization of any public contract in which a public official, a member of the public official's family, or any of the public official's business associates has an interest. That's the statute, so
Right.
you're not the one authorizing the employment,
Right, it would be us, the 60 bucks.
I believe.
Now, does she have a company? I mean, does she call her?
She's an independent.
No, she's helped some people build websites. She has a lady that has horses. She runs a horse farm and she built a website for her. Just friends, acquaintances. She's actually pretty good at it. The job she's at now, she built their website for them. And it's a church organization. And I've hesitated to provide council with all of that, a price or written things, because I knew this was an issue, and I knew I couldn't hire her without council's approval. So that's why the hesitation, and that's why I'm bringing it up now, because I was waiting for something where I could provide you with some information, knowing which direction we wanted to go with the website and the emails.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, I have the Ethics Commission nepotism restrictions, FAQ, that I could send to anybody who wants it, just so it's available and you kind of have the information.
You send that to me. Well, there was something I read at one time. Is it the mayor's position that they can't set up to appoint or suggest to appoint family? There was something I read somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
And I thought about actually Connie, when Connie was here. Because if you go back to when she appointed Chief Wood, it was her
Yeah.
brother-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was something I thought that I was reading that you can't do that anymore, but I didn't know it was just for the mayor, how I read it,
the way that you just phrased it, I don't know that you could do it. I don't think it would just be specific.
Because mayor was appointed, right?
wanted to appoint, and they couldn't suggest to appoint a town or a family member or something.
Yeah, well, and a lot of positions are such that the mayor appoints with the consent of council. So it's actually you making the appointment and then
Council.
council says, yes, we consent to that, yeah. So that may be it, because it's.
That's what it was, it was something weird.
Jim, can you get us a price of what she will charge us to build said site
Sure.
And maintain.
and maintain?
Well, I believe only a major maintenance would be necessary. Most of the stuff, once I'm familiar with it, like posting minutes or
Mhm.
things like that on the website, we should be able to handle here in the
Okay.
office. But it's actually building it, setting it up, having
Yeah.
everything looking good, that's what I need someone else's services for.
And another option would be kind of office.com, that's who Brewster and Lamar use.
I got a
Plus
price for
other
them.
mobile.
How much is theirs?
For them, it was almost $4,000.
Yeah, that's
$3,200 a year.
how much, 3,200 a year? So as long as she comes under that,
3,200 a year?
That's
To do their
maintain a
website.
That's the
website.
build.
build and maintain a website.
So every year they're gonna charge you 3,200
What do you think, what do you think we speak with
That's, yeah.
Plus, when we stayed with Dan, we didn't have to legally follow all the demands of the state of Ohio. Once we go into the state of Ohio, whoever does it for us has to know all those laws, and they really have to be insured and bonded big time, because they start breaking those rules and laws, we get in trouble and they get in trouble. I don't even know them, I
That's
don't
the
want to.
ADA compliant.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I was thinking. That was a
That's why,
headache.
that's why the biggest portion of that is.
Yeah, there's a lot. So once they build it, they still have to maintain it?
Correct.
Now, they can assign people to do certain functions, so if you wanted utilities, one person in utilities could do something tax. Stephanie could have her tax page and she could maintain that. And it's all just textual, she logs in. It's just like Word.
What does GoDaddy do then after all that time? They just host it, put it out there for us?
GoDaddy, well, yeah, I mean, what you had with GoDaddy was just a basic plan, and it should have only been $129 a year. HostGator, $129 a year. And you can set up front page websites, I mean, you can do all kinds of things that will do a lot of the AD compliance stuff, so. There's stuff out there to make it.
So, since you know this, well, whoever built this, will they be audited? Can they be audited? I just don't know, okay.
But they would be the ones with the path for you on all the compliance issues that have to deal with the site. You need your, whatever the website requirements are for the state, they
Okay.
maintain that. So they'll say, you need to have a contact us page, you need to have a about us page, you need to have what information you're collecting from.
So they would be audited, if there was a problem, someone came after us, they would be audited too, okay,
Then we take the burden of the.
thank you.
So you gotta find somebody to do it for free.
Yeah, okay.
Like Dan did, right?
So, oh, go ahead.
Didn't Dan do it?
So we're talking about,
That's why
what
we-
they're talking about now is what your daughter is offering, like pay.
No, she's out of the running if that's the case.
What was that?
My daughter's out of the running if that's the case.
I'm sorry, I missed.
For the website?
Yeah, she just wanted to build a website for us, and that was it.
For how much?
Well, he didn't,
Probably for nothing.
he didn't know, I mean,
Whatever.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
He
this
would
is
know.
all.
I had no idea
Yeah,
what you
this is
just said.
all-
I've never heard that before.
oh, the
I
state of
knew there were
Ohio?
certain things that had to be on the website.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, and I didn't understand that until Pat Corrigan explained it to me, and
So what's the difference between her
Her
building a
and Dan.
website and
And Dan,
Dan?
that's what I was.
we
curious
didn't
about.
own Dan's.
Right.
We didn't own it,
Okay.
Dan did. Now, Jim's taken the responsibility to get it from Dan. He's considered now the administrator? Administrator, he has to update it now because of either going with Google or staying with GoDaddy. We have to update it according to how they host it, so we do have to do a new webpage. But in doing the webpage, because we're a government, we have to pay for a host to protect us. Yeah.
So how was that any different than before? I guess that's what I'm missing.
Dan did it himself personally. It was not owned by the village.
Oh, okay.
See, he did that, and that was his donation to the village. He paid for that, he paid for the emails. He did it all.
Oh, I see.
But no,
I see.
nothing ever got updated on it though.
If we called in and let Dan know, he would do it immediately. But as far as keeping it updated per the request and the specs of the state of Ohio, he didn't have to do that. We didn't have to do that. We have to do that now. So if his daughter can build it and do what you like, we just have to find someone that, Jim, to host it?
No, we got the host. GoDaddy's the host.
We have the host.
No,
We just need somebody who's
Well,
insured.
Gov office would end up being the hoster of
Hoster.
the website.
But she could still,
GoDaddy would still be the domain holder.
but she could still build it for us.
She could, she probably work with the Gov office
Yeah.
people to get it
That's what
done.
I'm saying. She could probably do that, but she doesn't wanna be the
Gov
responsible.
office is gonna just make sure that the i's are dotted and t's are crossed, or ADA compliance. All of their stuff, it's just like a plug and play site. You pick how you want it to look, they're gonna make it that, and then they're gonna assign people to log into that site and manage those areas. So again, you can go into utilities, you can say, here's all the rates for your utilities, here's the people you contact. You can change anything on that specific page that you want, because you're logged in as that user, but you wouldn't be able to go to finance or any of the other pages to update that, and then vice versa. You wouldn't have Stephanie going over and updating stuff like that. So that area would be protected by a login, so they can manage it, and it's all text-based. I mean, you literally, once you're on the page, you don't like that sentence, you just click on it, backspace, save, it's posted.
So if I know what you would charge to build it only,
So her services design and make it look really cool.
Right.
Yes, but in no way for the village have to be responsible for the legals, because we have a host.
No, we would still have to,
We would still have.
We still have to find one.
we have to find one.
Did they give particulars on what you needed to build? I mean, that's, I know it's a generic site, I already got it downloaded.
The new
But what there,
GoDaddy?
no, yeah,
No, there was no,
is it like WordPress, you just got to create a WordPress site or something?
I,
I mean, that's essentially what Gov Office is that. And it's an overinflated thing that people have to go if they want to fall in compliance. Now, you don't have to go with that, and you can do that type of website, still follow all the rules. Most of the templates that are out there are ADA compliant, they'll automatic, once you set the thing, it's done. If you're partially blind, it'll be visible to that person. So there are templates out there that can do that. I just, GoDaddy's just, I mean, they messed everyone up with email. So they dropped email support, that's why everybody had to go to Office 365, now they're doing this. It's just, I've never had good luck with them at all. They just do what they want.
I don't know, I'm still learning. And I'm not.
So with that, you could extend, if you were to get rid of Office 365, you could go, if you had a hosting plan that, and it doesn't have to be there, they would refund at least a year, if not more, if you transferred just the web hosting to another provider. The domain can still be GoDaddy. All it's doing is holding beachcityohio.org, but they're also the web server for presenting the page. You can move that page to another provider that has all these other services, just like GovOffice. So I mean, they're still capable. And if you do move, you can actually change email if you wanted to get rid of the Office 365 portion and go to a provider that can give you 3,000 unlimited mailbox. An option.
I don't think we're gonna need 3,000 emails.
Most of them are, that's a default though.
Good job, Sean. With all that information.
Done it for a couple years.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Thank you for staying on top of all this stuff. I know you get bombarded constantly, and it is greatly appreciated.
Thank you. The website kind of slammed me because once we decided to take it over, we found out that we were on a deadline. And we had to do something or we'd lose our domain name. So
Right.
that's why the
Right.
confusion. I haven't been able to study it like I should. And we were just trying to throw something together quick to survive and maintain our domain name. And
It's still no loss. I mean, you definitely had, that's the right decision to make, to extend that domain name, so you didn't lose emails that go to everybody, like your email, utilities office, treasurer, mayor,
and actually, we
and the
did,
rest, I don't know.
the hosting part of the website is for half price. I paid for 2 years at the cost of 1
Oh,
year.
there you go.
Beautiful.
So that did help. The emails did not change.
Right.
So, I mean, we're
And
safe
there
now.
still may be a possibility to do even everything there also. I mean, it's just, I need to know what that technology.
Well, they were talking
They're
about
required.
building the new webpage. And I was trying to figure out, well, how he was talking about it, but having somebody else help do it. I was like, uh-huh. Mhm.
Like I said, it could be very doable. I mean, there's just those little things that's gotta be on there, and once they're there, they're there. So it really isn't too bad, you just gotta know what to look for, that might be helpful. Here, let's see, just to see what specific rules, but I think if you Google them, I found them by Google, but that's no good.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Bell.
So I have two things. The good news and the bad news. I don't have the card titles. I have, after 3 hours in the county building, a title granting Beach City, B-E-E-C-H, city, title to the motor home. I swear I wrote it
Is that
correct.
legal?
Yes, Scrivener's there, I think it'll be just fine. The only catch to that is Sonia Waller was extremely helpful, and she's with the county auditor's office. And she emailed me and just wanted to confirm that the village isn't going to turn around and sell it, because this, yeah, no, I know.
Well, yeah, I
I'm
understand,
just-
she has no idea what it looks like.
That's right.
Well, the affidavit had photos, but the big thing is, nobody could find a record of this mobile home.
Right.
There's no record of it existing. Jim's gone through it, looking for the tag on the inside, the model, the make, something.
No taxes were paid on
No,
it? Oh my goodness.
That's how we got it.
no, so.
Well, I
it's-
mean, there's actually a mobile home tax.
Correct.
Yeah.
And everybody thought it was affixed to the real property such that it was being taxed as a mobile home. But it's not, because it's on a trailer. So, no, there was no record, as I understand it, of the mobile home. So I was at the clerk's office, the auditor's office, the treasurer's office. So one had to say the taxes are fine, no taxes to do. One had to say the transfer is good, and the clerk had to then issue the title. So you can imagine if you don't have a mobile, no record of it existing, how do you
Right.
say the taxes are good, the transfer is good, and here's a title? So we got it done, but it cannot be, because of the circumstances, that's our right to ownership, and we're going to destroy it. And then it'll be removed, it's there, we have the proof of ownership so that we can destroy it, just so council's aware of that.
Do they need proof that we got rid of it then? Or
The-
are they okay?
On the back of that title is the transfer for it,
Oh,
just
okay.
like an auto title.
So we'll scrap it out,
We'll keep a copy of that to show that we were that it was transferred and then junked, or
Good enough.
whatever he does. So that's done. That feels like one of my biggest legal victories in your career.
Thank you for your time doing that for us.
And it was,
Since the police incident?
oh, yeah.
Your biggest one since then?
Yeah, so, no, just the amount of time in different hearings. There was an eviction.
Oh, yeah, you went and knocked on the door? Jim was
I
over
went
there
and knocked
fighting
on
the
the
rats and
house.
stuff.
Yeah, Jim's bought the rats. We went to eviction court and explained to the city of Massillon, the village doesn't want to become landlords here, we're just trying to get a mobile home up.
Trying to get it off the property, yeah.
So that piece is done. The only other thing that I had is, I checked with the county board of elections to make sure that the natural gas aggregation, it will be on the ballot. It's listed on the issues for the May 22nd primary.
They did tell me you did a very good job on that.
Oh.
They were very pleased, and they said, who was your solicitor? And I told them, they smiled and giggled, they remembered you.
Oh.
Well, thank you for saying that. The only other thing I'd just say briefly is, so council is aware, I've accepted a position of employment that would create a conflict if any matter were ever brought in any court within the 5th District Court of Appeals, which would include Stark County. So I'm able to maintain part-time practice if there were a matter that was brought or needed to be brought in those courts. I would not be able to handle that. Other counsel would have to be appointed. So in the interest of disclosure, if that creates any issues, I wanted counsel to be aware of that. So you know now, rather than me one day, you saying, hey, we gotta take this on, and I say, yeah, fine, you're gonna have to find somebody.
How many
Can you
times
give
have
me
you-
an example?
What's that?
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, if we had an administrative appeal of an employment termination, well, many may remember the one that went to Stark County Common Pleas Court, I would not be able to represent the village. If there was, a lawsuit that was filed in Stark County Common Pleas Court, I would not be able to represent and defend the village.
Are you allowed to refer someone, or do we have to appoint someone?
No, I don't think there'd be any problem finding
You just
an
make a
attorney that
referral.
would do it. Yeah, and preferably, and I don't think it'd be an issue, is in terms of cost, the referral would be subject to, the contract that I have already states that litigation is an hourly rate. So it would just be transferring that hourly rate off to
Somebody else.
other counsel. So it, yeah, I mean, it would just change the fact that I can't be involved in that or in the representation. So if that would pose any issue, you know, I understand
How
that.
many times have you done that since you've been here?
Done,
How many times have you had to go
Represent us.
so there was one,
to, well, I haven't been that many,
there was one.
that's what I thought, so it's not.
So it's not a huge deal,
No.
but it could happen.
It could happen.
You just want to.
And I just want you to be aware so that when it does, nobody's in the dark on it, so. And again, I understand if that creates an issue, but I'd rather disclose the potential conflict, so.
That's the kind of guy you are.
And
So what is your position?
in mid-March, I'll be a magistrate. Thanks.
Congratulations, move up.
It's not mid-March yet, don't count your chickens. So that's all I have.
Anything else? Move on. Good, good.